On September 1st, 2021, Adobe will end support for brackets. They've partnered with Microsoft and suggest that you migrate to Visual Studio Code. So, welcome. Let me help you make the migration to VS Code seamless. Really quick, like this video and subscribe to help me out. That's what makes it possible for me to continue making free content. Now, if you're not familiar with VS Code, it's a super fast, free, open source code editor from Microsoft. It runs on Windows, Mac OS, and Linux. It handles all of the major web development languages like HTML, CSS, JavaScript, TypeScript, SCSS, markup, and so much more. It has built-in support for multi-cursor, emit, split view, formatting, code folding, and many more features. One of the best things about VS Code is the community support and extensive list of extensions, and of course, themes. First, let's go to code.visualstudio.com to download it and get it installed. And once it's installed, this is what you'll see. Let me give you a brief overview of the layout here. On the sidebar, we have the File Explorer, search across files, source code management, launch and debug, manage extensions, and then we can see errors and warnings at the bottom in the status bar. We can toggle a terminal, and we have the command palette. So let's dive into these. In the File Explorer, this is where you'll find your project files and directories once you have a project folder open. And the search is pretty self-explanatory. This is where you can search within your project files, and there's also a find and replace functionality. With source control, you can keep track of different versions of your code, and VS Code uses Git integration for this. There's also built-in GitHub integration, which is amazing. The Debug tab is where you'll come to test and debug your code. And then we have the Extensions tab. Customization of VS Code is one of its best features. You can install an extension for just about any situation that you'll encounter. And then we have the Account menu. This is where you can log into GitHub and sync your settings. So if you have multiple devices and you want to sync your settings across your VS Code installations, you can do that here. Or if you just want to back up your settings just in case something happens, turn Settings Sync on. And then we have the Manage cog. In this menu, you'll find Settings, Keyboard Shortcuts, Themes, and the Command Palette. The Command Palette is a really cool feature. You can also get to it by pressing Ctrl-Shift-P or F1. And here you can search for just about anything. If you want to open a file, change the theme, or check out the keyboard shortcuts. And you don't have to complete a word, you can just type everything together. It figures out what you're looking for. It's very helpful and saves a lot of time. And if this is the only shortcut that you remember, then you'll be set. F1 gets you to everything. Next, at the bottom, we have the status bar, and it has a lot of useful information. If you're using source control, you'll see what branch you're on. On the right, we'll see the line number and the language of the current document. On the side here, we have a mini map. This gives you a high-level look at the file, and you can use it to navigate quickly to different parts of the code. At the top, we have the title bar, and this can actually be customized to show specific information. And another amazing feature of VS Code is its built-in terminal. So if we press Ctrl-tilde, so that's the button just to the left of the number 1 key, we now have an open terminal right inside of VS Code. I'm on Windows, so I have PowerShell. I can change the default shell, and I actually prefer Git Bash. So I'm going to change that, and then I'm going to close this terminal and open up a new one. And now I have Git Bash. And I can open up multiple terminals by just hitting the plus button here, and I can switch between maybe a node server on the back end and then my front end. Now, to make it similar to what you're used to with brackets, let's install an extension pack. So we'll go over here to our Extensions tab, and then let's search for Brackets Extension Pack. And here we see it right here. So this extension pack includes Brackets Keymap to use the Brackets key bindings that you're used to, the Live Server extension, which is similar to Live Preview in Brackets, the CSS Peek, which is similar to Quick Edit in Brackets, and then IntelliSense for CSS class names in HTML, which is similar to CSS class name autocomplete in Brackets. So let's go ahead and install this. And now VS Code should be very similar to what you're used to with Brackets. But let's make it just a little bit better with a great theme. So let's go back to Extensions, and let's search for my Code Stacker theme. And let's install that. And then we can go to our Settings, and then Color Theme, and then pick the Code Stacker theme. Much better. Let's take a closer look at these extensions that we just installed. So the Brackets Keymap, this one's pretty simple. It remaps all of the key bindings to match what you're used to in Brackets. Now, it doesn't support every single shortcut that you might be used to, but it does support all of the popular ones. Now, Live Server is amazing. Let's go over to my files here, and I have an index.html file. And we can start Live Server by right-clicking in the file here, and then selecting Open with Live Server, or you can press Control-Alt-P, which you should be used to from Brackets. Or we can just simply click this Go Live button at the bottom. Now it's started our server on port 5500, and it has opened my browser on the other window. Let me move that over. There it is. So this starts a web server in the background and then opens the site in your browser. So let's put this off to the side here. Now, every time we make an update and save the file, Live Server will automatically reload the page for you. No need to hit the refresh every time. So let's go in here and let's create a paragraph, and let's just say, "This is awesome." Save it, and automatically it's updated our page. CSS Peek allows you to quickly peek into your CSS and make quick edits. So let's go back into our HTML file here. So if we want to make an inline quick edit to this class heading, we just right click here and then go to Peek and then Peek Definition, or you can press Alt F12. And this brings it up inline, and we can actually make an edit here. So let's bring the website back up, and then let's change this font size. And there we go. It works right here inline. We can close that. But if we want to go directly to that definition in the actual file, we can right click here again and then go to definition or Control J. And that brings us to the actual file, right to the definition. And we can change that back to the way it was. Alternatively, if you just want to have a quick peek to look at what's there and not make any actual changes, you can just hold down the Control key and hover over the definition, and you'll be able to see exactly what's there. IntelliSense for CSS class names in HTML provides CSS class name completion in HTML. It's based on the definitions found in your workspace or external files referenced through a link element. So in our index.html file, we do have our style sheet linked here. And so if we go over to our styles, we can see that we have this style here of red, and it just makes the text color red. Pretty simple. We go back to the HTML, we can see that this class is not used anywhere. But let's go ahead and add that to this paragraph. So if I just hit space here, I'm automatically going to be prompted with the available classes, and I can just go ahead and pick red. Or if I started typing R, I would get red as well. And it just helps us autocomplete available class names. And now we can see the text is red. So where this comes in very handy, let's say that we're using Tailwind. So let's import the Tailwind CDN. I'm just going to paste that in here. So now we have the Tailwind CDN. We need to recache the class definitions, and we can do that by simply pressing this little lightning bolt at the bottom. And now it's looking for the class names in the workspace, and it's going to cache all of the available class names to help us. And that just took a second. So now instead of using our standard classes, we could use Tailwind classes. So instead of red, let's make this text yellow 500, and now it's yellow. And since Live Server is still running, we automatically see the changes when we save the file. So this will work with any CSS included in your workspace. Pretty cool. There are a ton of things that you can customize in VS Code. So if you want to get some more cool tips and tricks, I have an entire playlist that you can watch. I also have a premium course just on Visual Studio Code. It will help you become a VS Code superhero. And for a limited time, you can get an exclusive discount on the course by using the link in the description below. I hope this was helpful. Like this video to help me out, and subscribe if you haven't already for more videos like this.